Chisholm Nwosu had survived an abusive ex-boyfriend, immigration to a country where she didn't speak the language, and 18-hour workdays just to keep her sister in university back in Nigeria. But nothing prepared her for accidentally walking into a room where Lee Tamin, Seoul's most feared crime lord, stood over a bleeding man with a gun in his hand and murder in his eyes. She should have died in that hotel room for witnessing what she saw. Should have been the 18th person Tamin eliminated to protect his empire. But when she spilled 3 Americanos on his $15,000 suit and immediately apologized with the kind of dignity most people lost when they were begging for their lives, he made a choice that would destroy them both. He let her live. Not out of mercy. Tamin didn't do mercy, but because something in her refusal to grovel, in the way she met his eyes despite her terror, reminded him that he used to be human before he became a monster. Now she works in his cafe where he can watch her, lives under his protection whether she wants it or not, and every day the line between captor and protector blurs, until neither of them can remember why staying apart was supposed to keep them safe. And when her abusive ex tracks her down to Seoul, Chisholm learns that the most dangerous thing about loving a man like Tamin isn't what he'll do to his enemies. It's what he'll become for her. Chisholm had taken the back hallway of the Lotus Hotel, a shortcut the other servers used to avoid the main corridor during the lunch rush. Her tray was loaded with 3 Americanos for the VIP meeting room on the 3rd floor. She was already running late, already sweating through her uniform, already mentally calculating if she'd have enough for rent after sending money home to Enugu this month. She pushed open what she thought was the service entrance to room 301. It wasn't. The scene burned itself into her brain in fractured images. A man on his knees, face bloodied, hands bound. 2 men in suits flanking him like silent executioners. And in the centre, standing with the casual elegance of someone completely in control, was the most beautiful and terrifying man she'd ever seen. Lee Tamin held a gun like some men held pens. Natural, unbothered, an extension of his will. He was speaking in low, measured Korean, his voice carrying the kind of quiet authority that made the kneeling man sob harder. Then Tamin's eyes shifted, found her frozen in the doorway. Time stopped. His expression didn't change. Still cold, still remote, but something flickered in those dark eyes. Calculation, assessment, threat. Her tray tilted. 3 Americanos launched through the air, direct hit. The room erupted. Guards moved, weapons appearing, but Tamin raised one hand, the one not dripping with coffee, and everyone froze. "Out," he said quietly. "Take him to the basement. I'll deal with this personally." "Sir, she saw—" I said out. They dragged the sobbing man away. The door sealed with a click that sounded like a coffin closing. Chisholm stood alone with a man who'd been holding a gun 30 seconds ago. Her empty tray clutched like a shield, her heart hammering so hard she thought she might die right there. Tamin looked down at his ruined Brioni suit, at the coffee spreading across white silk. Then slowly, deliberately, he removed his jacket and let it fall. "I'm sorry. I thought this was the room numbers. I didn't mean what you saw." He stepped closer. She stepped back. "What exactly did you see?" Her back hit the wall. He kept coming until he was close enough that she could smell his cologne under the coffee, something dark and expensive that probably cost more than her monthly salary. "I didn't see anything," she stammered. "I swear, I'll forget. I'll never speak of it. Please, I need this job. I can't." "What's your name?" His voice was soft, deadly. The question threw her. "What?" "Your name. You've ruined a $15,000 suit, interrupted extremely important business, witnessed something that should get you killed." He tilted his head, studying her. "The least you can do is tell me your name before I decide what to do with you." Tears burned her eyes. She refused to let them fall. Chisholm Nwosu. Nigerian, yes. Family back home. My sister, university. I send money for her fees. Why was she telling him this? He was quiet, those dark eyes searching her face. You're terrified, he observed. You were holding a gun. I'm always holding a gun. Metaphorically speaking. The corner of his mouth might have twitched. Tell me, Chisholm Nwosu from Nigeria. Do you know who I am? No. A lie. She'd heard whispers about the man who owned half of Gangnam, about meetings in back rooms where witnesses didn't exist. Good. Keep it that way. He stepped back, giving her space to breathe. You work for the catering company? Yes. I'm so sorry about your suit. I'll pay for it. With what money? You just told me you're supporting a sister on a server's salary. He pulled out his phone, typed something. You'll report to the Blue Moon Cafe on Tehran Row tomorrow at 6 a.m. Ask for Manager Kwon. Better pay, better hours. She stared. You're giving me a job? I'm relocating a problem. You've seen my face. You know this location. I prefer to keep my liabilities close. His eyes held hers. This isn't kindness, Chisholm. It's insurance. You work where I can see you. You stay quiet. And maybe you live long enough to send your sister to graduation. The threat was clear. So was the lifeline. Why not just kill me? For the first time he smiled, cold, sharp, more dangerous than the gun had been. Because you spilled coffee on me and then offered to pay for the suit. You walked into a room with a man holding a gun, and your first instinct was to apologize. He leaned close, breath warm against her ear. And when you looked at me just now, you were terrified, but you didn't beg. I respect that. He pulled back, already moving toward the door. 6 a.m. tomorrow. Don't be late. If you're already hooked, hit that subscribe button and settle in, because Chisholm and Taemin's story is about to take you on a ride that'll have you questioning everything you thought you knew about protection, possession, and what it means to be truly safe. Chisholm didn't sleep. She lay in her cramped goshiwon and replayed everything. The gun, the prisoner, those eyes that saw too much. She should run. Instead, at 5:30 a.m., she took the subway to Gangnam. Blue Moon Cafe was elegant, all glass and steel, where drinks cost 15,000 won, and customers wore watches worth more than cars. Manager Kwon was expecting her. You're the one who spilled coffee on Mr. Lee, not a question. His expression was carefully neutral. He doesn't usually relocate staff personally. It was an accident. With Mr. Lee, there are no accidents, only consequences. He handed her a uniform. Black dress, white apron, infinitely nicer than before. You'll work 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. Pay is 3 times what you were making. Be smart and quiet. Quiet about what? His smile was thin. You'll figure it out. She did, quickly. Blue Moon was a front. Beautiful, legitimate, profitable, but a front. She saw it in the private rooms, always booked but rarely occupied, in customers who came for meetings and left through back exits, and Taemin came every day. Day 3. She refilled water, his eyes followed. Day 7. She bent to pick up a dropped spoon. He was there first, fingers brushing hers as he handed it back. Day 12. She felt him behind her at the espresso machine, didn't turn around, couldn't. Day 14. She stopped pretending she wasn't waiting for him to arrive. Why does he keep staring at you? Whispered Mira, the other Nigerian server. Did you sleep with him? What? No. Then why? Mr. Lee doesn't waste time on staff. I've seen him maybe twice in 6 months. Now he's here daily, always watching you. Chisholm didn't have an answer until day 15 when she overheard a conversation she absolutely shouldn't have. She was refilling water in the private room adjacent to Taemin's office. The walls were supposed to be soundproof. They weren't. Not quite. The shipment from Busan arrives Thursday, a man said in Korean. Chisholm's language skills had improved drastically. Park is getting nervous about the police. Park is always nervous. That's why he's still alive. He's too afraid to betray me. Taemin's voice. Cold, authoritative, double the security. Any hint of interference, abort and move to backup. And the politician. He's demanding a larger cut. He'll take what I give him, or I'll remind him what happened to the last official who got greedy. Every word confirmed what she'd suspected, but hadn't, wanted to believe. Lee Taemin wasn't just connected to organised crime, he was organised crime. She must have made a sound, because suddenly the conversation stopped. "Someone's there," one of the men said. Chisholm ran, abandoned the picture, fled to the main cafe. Her hands shook as she grabbed cleaning supplies, scrubbed tables that were already clean. Taemin appeared 60 seconds later. He didn't look angry, didn't look surprised. Just walked calmly to where she was destroying a perfectly clean table. "Walk with me," he said quietly. "I'm working. Now." His hand closed around her elbow outside the cafe. She jerked back. He held firm. "Walk." Not a request. They moved through Gangnam crowds. He pulled her closer when a bus passed too near. She stumbled on uneven pavement. His arm steadied her. Into an alley, finally. "What did you hear?" "Nothing. I wasn't—" "Don't lie to me, Chisholm." He stopped, turned her to face him. "I can see it on your face. You heard enough to understand what I am. So tell me, what did you hear?" Her chin lifted, that same pride that had intrigued him before, enough to know you're dangerous, that you control things, people, that the cafe is just a pretty face on something ugly. And now that you know, now I'm terrified, honest, raw, but I still need the job. I still need to support my sister, so I'll keep cleaning tables and keeping my mouth shut and pretending I don't know that the man who gave me a second chance is exactly the kind of person my mother warned me about. He studied her. Then, unexpectedly, he laughed, short, sharp, genuine. "Your mother was right to warn you." He stepped closer, backing her against the wall, not threatening, not quite, but intimate in a way that made her pulse jump. "I am exactly what you should run from. I hurt people. I break laws. I've done things that would give you nightmares. Then why tell me this? Because you keep surprising me. Because you're smart enough to be afraid, but brave enough to stay. Because when you look at me, I see judgment, yes, but also curiosity." His hand came up, traced her jaw. "Like you recognize that the world isn't black and white. It's 1,000 shades of necessary evil. I'm going to give you a choice, Chisholm. One chance to walk away. Quit the cafe. I'll give you 6 months severance. You never see me again. Or you stay, knowing what I am, and accept that being near me puts you in danger, that my enemies might use you, that your life will never be simple again." Why would I stay? Because the pay is good. Because Seoul is expensive and your sister needs tuition. Because maybe... His voice dropped lower. "You're as curious about me as I am about you. She should choose the money. Should run. I'll stay," she heard herself say. His smile was slow, dangerous, satisfied. "Then let's establish rules. You work. You keep quiet. And if anyone threatens you, asks about me, even looks at you, wrong. You tell me immediately. Understood? Why do you care if someone threatens me? Because you're mine now," said simply, possessive in a way that should have offended her, but instead sent heat through her veins. "My employee. My responsibility. He stopped. "Just mine. That's all you need to know." He stepped back, releasing her. "Go home early today. Tomorrow we start fresh. And Chisholm?" He was already walking away. "Try not to eavesdrop on any more conversations. Next time I might not be so understanding." She watched him disappear, her heart racing, her mind spinning. She'd just agreed to work for a criminal. Worse, she was starting to like him. If you've ever escaped something toxic only to have it track you down when you finally felt safe, you know what's coming, and you know why Taemin's about to show Chisholm exactly how dangerous loving him really is. 17 days later, everything exploded. She was closing alone. Manager Kwon had left early, trusting her with final cleanup. She was wiping down the espresso machine when the door chimed. "We're closed." She turned and froze. Desmond stood in the doorway, looking exactly like the nightmare she'd left behind in Lagos. Her ex-boyfriend had been charming once, before the gambling, before the debts, before he'd started using his fists. She'd fled to Seoul partially for her sister, partially to escape him. "Hello, Chi-Chi," he said, using the nickname that now made her skin crawl. "Surprised? How did you find me?" Her voice was steady. Her hands shook. "You're not as invisible as you think. Instagram. Your sister's school records." He stepped inside. His eyes were wrong, dilated, high on something. "You owe me, baby. I spent money on you, time, and you just left. Humiliated me? You hit me. Flat, factual, multiple times. You made me angry. You know how you get." He was coming closer. She was running out of room. "But I forgive you. Come back to Lagos. We'll start over." No, that wasn't a request. His hand shot out, grabbed her wrist hard enough to bruise. "You think you're better than me now, living in fancy Seoul, working in nice cafes? You're coming home. Tonight?" She tried to pull away. His grip tightened. Pain shot up her arm. "Let go. Make me." The gun cocking was the loudest sound Chisholm had ever heard. She said, "Let go." Taemin's voice cut through the cafe like a blade. He stood in the doorway of his private office. Had he been there the whole time? With a gun pointed directly at Desmond's head. "You have 3 seconds to release her and walk out, or I paint these nice clean walls with your brain. Your choice." Desmond dropped her wrist like it was on fire. "Who the hell are you? The man whose employee you just assaulted, whose property you entered without permission, whose patience you've exhausted." Taemin walked forward slowly, gun never wavering. "Leave Seoul. Tonight. If I see you within 100 miles of this city, of her, I'll kill you. Not quickly, not cleanly. I'll make it last days." He said it conversationally, like discussing weather. Desmond looked at the gun, at Taemin's face. At Chisholm, he ran. The door slammed. Silence. Taemin lowered the gun, engaged the safety, tucked it away. Then he crossed to Chisholm. "Let me see your wrist." She held it out numbly. Purple bruises were already forming. His jaw tightened. "Ex-boyfriend?" She nodded. "Abusive." Another nod. "How long?" 8 months. I left a year ago. Thought I'd escaped." Her voice cracked. "I'm sorry. I brought my problems here. I should have—" "Stop." He cupped her face with both hands, forcing her to meet his eyes. "This isn't your fault. Men like him, they're parasites. They latch onto strong women and drain them until there's nothing left but fear and shame." His thumbs brushed away tears she hadn't realized were falling. "But you got away. You survived, and now he's gone. Permanently. You were just going to kill him." Not a question. "Yes. Just like that. For you? Just like that." Said simply, truthfully, dangerously. "You're under my protection now, Chisholm. Officially. Anyone who touches you, hurts you, threatens you, they answer to me. That's not negotiable." "I don't understand." She was crying fully now, adrenaline crashing. "You barely know me. Why do you care?" "Because from the moment you spilled coffee on me and apologized with more dignity than most men show when they're begging for their lives, I was fascinated. Because you work hard, send money to family, survive in a foreign country with grace and strength. Because when I'm near you, I feel something I haven't felt in years. Human. Connected. Like maybe I'm not just a monster in an expensive suit." He pulled her close, let her cry against his chest. I'm dangerous, Chisholm. I've done terrible things. I'll do more terrible things. But for you, I'd do anything. Be anything. I'd burn this entire city down to keep you safe. She should run, should be horrified. Instead, she wrapped her arms around him and let herself be held by the most dangerous man in Seoul. Take me home, she whispered. Your Goshiwon? No. Yours. He pulled back, searched her face. If you come home with me, everything changes. I know. I won't want to let you go. Good, because I'm tired of running, tired of being alone, tired of pretending I don't feel this. She touched his chest, over his heart. Every time you look at me. His control snapped. He kissed her there in the closed cafe, deep and possessive and claiming, kissed her like she was oxygen and salvation, and his last good choice all at once. When they broke apart, both breathing hard, he rested his forehead against hers. My place is in Gangnam. Penthouse. Security. You'll be safe there. Will I be safe from you? He smiled, dark and promising. Not even slightly. Good, she said again, and let him lead her into the night. Ladies, is this protection or control? Comment run if you think she should disappear, or stay if you think this dangerous man might be exactly what she needs. Because I promise you, this gets so much more complicated. His apartment overlooked Seoul. Floor-to-ceiling windows, minimalist furniture, art worth more than she'd make in a lifetime. But she barely noticed, couldn't focus on anything except the man pouring whiskey with steady hands. Drink, he said. You're still shaking. She was. But not just from fear anymore. Tell me about him, Taemin said quietly. The ex, all of it. So she did. The charm at first, the gradual control, the isolation. The first hit she'd excused, the second she'd blamed on herself. The third that had finally woken her up. I left with nothing but a suitcase and my passport. Came to Seoul because it was far and I'd always wanted to travel. Thought distance would be enough. It's enough now. Taemin's voice was cold fury. He won't bother you again. Ever. What did you do? Called in favours. He's on a flight to Lagos as we speak, with instructions that if he ever leaves Nigeria again, there will be consequences. My reach extends far, Chisholm. He knows that now. She should ask what kind of consequences. She didn't. Thank you, she said instead. Don't thank me for basic human decency. He set down his glass, moved closer. But now you have it. Me. All of me, the good, the bad, the absolutely terrible. And what do you get? You. If you'll have me, knowing what I am, what I do. His hand cupped her face. I can't promise gentle, can't promise easy, but I can promise that I'll protect you with everything I have, that you'll want for nothing, that when you're with me, you're the only thing that matters. That's terrifying, I know. I want it anyway. She leaned into his touch. I want you, all of you. He kissed her again, slower this time, deep and thorough and claiming in a way that made her feel possessed and treasured simultaneously. When he carried her to his bedroom, she didn't protest. When he worshipped every inch of her skin like she was sacred, she didn't hold back. And when he whispered promises against her throat, protection, devotion, violence on her behalf, she believed every word, because Lee Taemin was dangerous, ruthless, a man who built empires on fear, but for her, he was safety, sanctuary, home. 3 weeks later, Chisholm moved in officially, not because she had to, because she wanted to. She still worked at Blue Moon. Taemin insisted, said she needed her independence, her own money, her own life beyond him. But every night, she came home to him, to their apartment, to a life that was complicated and dangerous and absolutely right. Seoul's underworld learned quickly the Nigerian woman was untouchable. Lee Taemin's queen protected with the same ruthless efficiency he used to destroy his enemies. And when people whispered about how the Ice King had gone soft for a woman, they only said it once, because Taemin proved thoroughly, violently, decisively, that loving Chisholm didn't make him weak. It made him absolutely lethal. And Chisholm, who'd survived abuse and poverty and immigration and fear, had finally found something worth fighting for. Love, real, dangerous, all-consuming love with a man who'd kill for her, who'd die for her, who'd chosen her just as completely as she'd chosen him. We've reached the end, and I need to know, did this story hit different? Did Chisholm's strength and Taemin's transformation have you feeling all the feelings? This is what we do here at Afro-Korean Diary. We tell stories about complicated love, about women who survive and men who learn what it means to protect instead of possess. We don't do simple romance. We do the kind that challenges you, breaks you, and reminds you why love is worth fighting for. If this story made you believe in second chances, in redemption, in the kind of dangerous devotion that rewrites all the rules, then hit that like button and subscribe, because next week's story is about Teaser, and trust me, you won't want to miss it. Comment below, Team, Taemin should have let her go, or Team, sometimes the monster is exactly who you need. I want to hear your thoughts. Until next time, stay strong, stay loved, and remember, the best love stories are the ones that scare us a little. I'll see you in the next one.